This is Haile Selassie. I like this chart. I almost met him once, but I saw the key. He would always travel with his lions. So when they opened up the Seaway in 1967 in Montreal, I was a little kid and I was out watching the boats go by, and his boat went by, and he had the cage with the two lions with him. He always traveled his lion, but as he grew up, he called himself the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the King of Kings. He was Sun, Mars, and Pluto conjunct. No, Sun and Mars conjunct in Leo in the 10th house. King of Kings. Uranus was on his ascendant. His moon was in Aquarius. But this Sun in Leo and his Mercury in Leo, he called himself the King of Kings. He was quite an incredible person. It's interesting that when he died, he just was killed and disposed of and buried in an unmarked grave. And it happened when Neptune had moved all the way around his chart, was exactly opposed to where it was when it was born. He got half a Neptune cycle exactly on that. He was abducted, killed, and buried in an unmarked grave. That was the end of it. From sublime power to invisibility. Here's Mao Zedong's chart. He's the Capricorn with a Leo moon. Napoleon Bonaparte, Capricorn with a Leo moon. He had the rules. He had to make things better. He had a strong structure. It was fanatical, and in the end, it made China independent. It built up China's strength. At the same time, it caused some special disasters, and now it's a mixed blessing. Some people love him, some people don't in China. But he still was a prominent person. And before his time, Chinese were mostly considered slaves or things. Now they're vying for the world. So he certainly is a prominent person in history. Kirpal Singh is the Sun, Moon, and Aquarius. Is a Sikh. I can't say a guru, but a Sikh teacher who wrote a lot of very good books. Most of his books about the word or the word of God or the name of God or repeating the name of God. So he wrote about the knowledge about those things. One for time. Oh, good. We'll just take. There's a bit more. I'll go a little faster. Meher Baba, another mystic. Pisces, Moon and Scorpio. Aldous Huxley, Moon and Taurus. Leo, Moon and Taurus. Bright colors. Dane Roger, another one of the astrologers who inspired me. He was the Aries with Aquarius moon. And this is one of my early charts. Velikovsky, at the handle of the planet is the moon, is the bucket. Gemini, Capricorn moon. Buckminster Fuller, Cancer, building all his domes and his sense of the new society, and a moon in Pisces. That moon in Pisces is the handle of his bucket. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Virgo with a Gemini moon. This is the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. At 70, he left India, came to New York with no money, sat in the park, started chanting. Someone asked him what he was doing. And the whole movement of Hare Krishna movement in the Western world, it built up in the next 10 years. He lived another 10, 15 years before he died. And in that time, he built hundreds of temples around the world, in every country in the world, and built up the Hare Krishna movement, the Back to Godhead movement. Marcus Garvey, he's a black politician, Leo, Sun and Moon Leo, and a prominent feature. Not his story was never presented as much as it should have been. But anyways, that's his. Morris Escher, the artist who does all these funny perspectives on things where two hands touching each other. He would make these mirrors and he does funny things with his drawings. He was a Sun and Moon in Gemini. With Sun conjunct Neptune. So anyway, this is really an older chart, but I had to see how he was thinking. This is what any Gemini would want you to do. Well, tomorrow, this is my guru in India, where I spent the 2 years in silence in a cave meditating. 13 months without daylight, without seeing a person. He had worked with Mahatma Gandhi and took a vow of poverty and worked with untouchables through his life. But even though he took up poverty in his lifetime, he built something like, I'm not sure if it was 7,000 or 17,000 schools in tribal areas of Gujarat where he came from. C.S. Lewis, science fiction writer, Sagittarius, multiple Sagittarius with a moon in Gemini. Manly Palmer Hall, the mystic, Canadian, Sun in Pisces, moon in Aquarius. George Orwell, his Sun in Aquarius, lots of planets Aquarius, and his moon's in Scorpio. Dr. Seuss, Pisces, Virgo moon. His ability to see the concepts. He had his special humorous way of expressing. Kids love him because he had his own twist on presenting good stories. Salvador Dali. Picasso had all the Scorpio, Dali has all the Taurus. John de Lofeld is another person who wrote with I Ching and was very much involved in Buddhism, and was, for a long time, he was the head of the Children's Society for the United Nations in Asia. Alan Watts. So Blofeld has, mostly his books were on Buddhism, some on the I Ching. Alan Watts, Taoism, Buddhism. Zen, not Taoism, Zen, he wrote on Zen more. Arthur C. Clarke, moon in Capricorn, Sun in Sag, moon in Capricorn, about 2001. Billy Graham, the god, he died, Sun and moon in Scorpio. He had all that. Sun and Scorpio, moon in Sag, but he was the Christian preacher. Great charismatic man. Isaac Asimov. Like I say, we're just going to run through them. Ray Bradbury, science fiction writer. Leo. Sag moon. Uranus is the handle. How bright his mandalas become. Timothy Leary, Libra with Aquarius moon. His knowledge, ideas. Uranus and the moon on the half of the seesaw, living eccentrically, breaking through things. Brian Aldiss, another science fiction writer. Leo, Sun and Moon in Leo. Allen Ginsberg, poet. He had his Sun in Gemini, Mercury and Moon in Pisces. Stanley Kubrick, Leo, moon in Scorpio. Martin Luther King, Capricorn, moon in Pisces. I believe I have a dream. Richard Balaram is another one of the psychologists who's very involved in psychedelics at the beginning, and then became his own spiritual teacher. Aries, moon in Sag. Yoko Ono, Aquarius, with her moon in Sagittarius. And she was kind of a dark side when all the Beatles were much more brighter colors. Ken Kesey, another writer about psychedelic experiences and things. Virgo, with his moon in Taurus. Then we have Ringo Starr, the Beatles. He's got it's not quite a bundle, it's a bowl, but it's all bunched up anyways, all the Taurus with the Leo moon. When you see the Beatles, they really, Ringo Starr, there's John Lennon, you got the Libra with the Aquarius moon or Capricorn, I can't see. Geez, the color. I'm not sure now. Sorry, you should remember it, but I'm a little tired. Then we have Bob Dylan, Gemini, Aries moon, very I me. Here's Paul McCartney, just like he's like Ringo Starr, only his is Gemini with the Leo moon, where Ringo Starr was the Taurus Leo. And there's George Harrison for the splash chart, Pisces. So when you see, like the two, Paul McCartney and John and Ringo Starr both stand out as this really independent, two independent people. You would not normally think of them as part of a group, but this group got together, you know, and out of those differences, and they changed the world of music. George Harrison. So that's the end of my presentation. Yeah, we're a little over our time. So, but this is just working with the color chart, getting a chance to see them and look at them, and you can explore in them. You can use all your. It just adds another dimension of understanding to your astrology to know the color and to work with the color. It certainly gives a place to go to when you're trying to understand something deeper and you're puzzling with something, you're thinking it's going this. What else? And you can bring in another layer of what's healing and what's not. So this is the end of our color. But we'll next week we're dealing with the Southern Hemisphere horoscopes. We're going to be dealing with the Southern Hemisphere chart in much more detail. And thank you. I'll see you then. Okay, bye. This.